Good morning, class. You are welcome to a brand new day with our normal literature text. Well, since this lockdown last week, it was somehow unfortunate for us. We started these lessons when the time for me to teach has already passed. So today, we are going to continue from where we stopped, or where we ended, with our prose novel, Seed of Tongues. Last time we ended in chapter 3, and definitely we're to continue with chapter 4. So I'm going to give you a brief summary to refresh your memory of what happened in chapter 1, 2, 3 before chapter 4 now. As we discussed in class, that Seed of Tongues, written by Francis Ate, is a typical traditional novel in Cameroon from the northwest region of Cameroon. Francis Ate decided to put this because of the issues he saw. Religion was fighting against tradition. They had a conflict, so he decided to put this into writing so that brain like us, scholars like us, we can read and know what is happening in the Com village in the yesteryears. So we said in chapter 1, it is all about Father Peter Ndong, who left the village Com because of the barbaric, in quote, traditions that were being practiced in that village. He decided to shut down all the worshipping of the idols, the sacrifices, the god to the gods, and to follow the white man God. He left the village and went to Europe, where he went there and studied how to become a reverend father. So, fortunately for him, he succeeded, and he had to come back to his hometown to pursue the career that he has chosen. So Com came back to Bamenda, where that is where the main station was. He came back and he needed to be posted somewhere to start his missionary work. Unfortunately for him, and on the other hand, fortunately for the church, Father Peter Ndong was posted to his own hometown where he left many years ago because of the bad traditions they were practicing. So you quite remember it was a shock when the appointment letter was given to Father Peter Ndong. You remember when I demonstrated this issue with Ramona in class, how he stood there almost crying, thinking of the plight he went through in that same village. He asked himself in a monologue, the bishop wants me to go to the village and die. The same village I left in so many years. Will I survive the plight? Will I survive the traditional beliefs? Will I be able to convince or change their minds or convert them? Those were the thoughts that came from Father Peter Ndong's mind. Unfortunately for him, there was nothing he could do to convince the bishop to send him to another station. Now, the bishop, to his own satisfaction, knew that Father Peter Ndong is the best person to be sent to that village to preach the gospel because he is the son of the soil. He knows the people better than any other person. And do you know what? Do you remember the story of Father Jensen? The people of Com killed Father Jensen. That is why the Com village by then was known as the Lion's Den. They did not want to hear anything concerning the white man God because they masterminded Father Jensen's death, and he had an accident on the Bamenda Hill and died mysteriously in a ghastly motor accident. All these rumors, all these issues, they were what Father Peter Ndong thought that he would not be able to overcome. Guess what? As a man of God, he decided to take the bull by the horn. Father Peter Ndong had no choice but to seek God's favor and mercy through prayers. Father Peter Ndong went into fasting, 3 days fasting and prayer, to pray for God to help him, because this task ahead of him is more than him. Guess what, my ladies? Father Peter Ndong, as you all know, to an extent, is going to succeed. Now, do you know what happened? Father Peter Ndong, the last day, which is in chapter 3, decided to take this task ahead of him by taking the journey by himself. Father Peter Ndong took his bag. First thing he took was his rosary, his clothes, and so on and so forth. Remember, the last day of his fasting and prayer, God gave him a revelation that this task ahead of him, he is going to overcome it. That gave Father Peter Ndong the courage and the advice from the bishop that don't be afraid and do not criticize or condemn any tradition. If you see that the tradition is good, take it. We are going to blend it with that of our Holy Bible. Those were the wise words. Father Peter Ndong stood by it, and those words, we are going to see how successful they will be in these journeys of his. Here comes chapter 4. That was a brief introduction of chapter 1 to 3. Here is chapter 4. What will Father Peter Ndong do? Chapter 4 is telling us of his arrival in the Laikom land. Remember, he is a son of the soil. Romo, Romo in the village spread like wildfire. He spread more than that in town. Romo already was in the village that Father Peter Ndong had been posted to that village, and he will be coming that same day. Guess what? Women, men, children, adults, old men, and so on and so forth, they were all at the village square to welcome Father Peter Ndong. Guess what? They were not there to welcome him as a father, but they were there to welcome him as a traditional ruler. Remember, he left the village because he did not want to become a traditional ruler or a chief priest, let me put it that way. So they were welcoming him, knowing that their chief priest is back. But unfortunately for them, he did not come to take back his chief priest. He was coming as a preacher of the white man's God. The euphoria, the way they welcomed him, their reception was in a way that Father Peter Ndong saw that he is really in his hometown. They all jubilated, they all sang praises, because it has been long, he has been out for years without them seeing him. It was a wonderful visit they paid to Father Peter Ndong. After this visit, so after the arrival and the reception, Father Peter Ndong gave them thanks, told them that he is very happy for them to receive him in such a way. He did not believe that that is what they were to do, and it was good. Knowing that Father Peter Ndong is coming as a priest, the fount of Com already was not happy for the fact that he's coming as a priest. He decided to put an injunction on the church door. This injunction means that you are putting a ban that nobody should enter. The chief placed an injunction on the church door where Father Peter Ndong was not able to enter that church. So this was an issue that Father Peter Ndong told the people that no, the chief is not supposed to put an injunction on the church door, because this church he is not the owner of the church. He is just a messenger. Putting this injunction on the church door is not the way of the son calling him to come and see him. As a son of the soul, he knows that he is supposed to see the son on arrival. That's said and done. Father Peter Ndong, the catechist, and the parish president, those of you you used to tell me that is monarchio. I don't really know it in Spanish as much. The monarchio, something like that. Normally, always there with some other church members. So with those members, the Catholic, the parish president, and the catechist, they all left and they were going to see the phone. On their way to the Fawn's palace, they discussed a lot of things. They gave Father Peter Ndong a brief history of what has happened in his absence. Knowing that Father Peter Ndong, as earlier said, as a son of the soil, you cannot go to a Fawn's palace empty-handed. You must go with a parcel, a gift. Remember, it is an African traditional novel. It is courtesy demands that when you want to visit a Fawn, you should go there with a gift. If you want to visit somebody, even your friend, if you go out there with a gift, at least it shows sign of love and respect. Father Peter Ndong knows that this is what he's supposed to do. What was the gift? He had a rosary and a good, well-embroidered garment for the chief. Those were the things he carried for the chief's palace. On arriving there, the chief messenger sent a message to the chief that the father is there to see the chief or the Fawn. The Fawn came out, was very happy to see Father Peter Ndong. Father Peter Ndong, as a wise man, coupled with the fact that he has known the tradition for a very long time, spoke in a wise way. He spoke with the chief, both spoke on so many issues concerning the land and the tradition. Father Peter Ndong told the Fawn, there are so many things I have learned concerning the white man God. And with time, I'm going to brief you on how these things are. The Fawn told him, well, you are welcome, my son. I will be happy whenever you be chance to come and brief me concerning the white man's God. That was where they ended. Not ending there on that note, they had another discussion concerning his grandfather death celebration. You know, in the Com language, in the Com village, in the grass field, I told you that death celebration is something that is very important. If you have parents that have died for years, or grandparents that have died for years, as a reasonable son, it is always very important for you to give them that celebration. You pay tribute to the gods and goddesses. Father Peter Ndong is a Roman Catholic priest, but he is still going to respect this. This was one of the immediate causes of the Fawn to know that their son is not against them, but he is for them. Are we there? Under normal circumstances, since these traditions are barbaric, because there will be sacrifices, there will be killing of cows, goats, and so on, chickens, and so on, they are barbaric. But Father Peter Ndong did not condemn this tradition, but he came or he is there to even take part in this tradition. That is where the Fawn saw that no, indeed, the white man's message has not converted their son. Without knowing that the son is only using wisdom to blend tradition with religion. That is where the Fawn finally accepted that, okay, the injunction placed on the door of the church will be uplifted. Before they left the church, the chief's palace, the Fawn's palace, the injunction placed has already been uplifted. That is where they left. Now, that is a brief summary of chapter 4. We are going now to chapter 5 to see what happened in chapter 5 after the visit between Father Peter Ndong and the Fawn of Laikom. Chapter 5 was a good Sunday morning after the church service or the mass celebrated with his members. Father Ndong is in his hometown. His father, sisters, they are there in Laikom. He decided to pay a visit to their compound. He went to that compound. He was highly welcomed by the sisters, and the father, who was already an old man, was on the bed. But he got the sound of the car. He knew that the son is around. Now, Father Peter Ndong has something to tell the father. He walked majestically into the room where the father was sleeping and greeted the father. The father, with peace of mind, he saw that no, the son is back. And remember, if you have been out of your house a very long time, as you step your legs into your house for the first time, you are going to feel at home. That was the feeling that went or that Father Peter Ndong received. The meeting between Father Ndong and his father was a hard one. They discussed on so many issues concerning tradition, concerning the wise man God. Father Peter Ndong told the father that he has agreed or made an arrangement with the founder of Laikom to place a date where he is going to celebrate his grandfather memorial service. Do you know the question the father asked him? My son, how are you going to celebrate this death celebration, do this death celebration, when there will be the killing of chicken, goats, and so on and so forth, traditional cleansing, libation, pouring of that and that and that? That was the question Peter Ndong father asked the father. Father told him crystal clear that there is no way in the Bible that is condemning those worship, those libation and killing of chicken and so on and so forth. He even made a reference, a biblical allusion, that in the Bible they wanted to sacrifice Isaac, who was the only son. Okay, that was an allusion that he gave to the father. That is where the father said, okay, it means my son has not been converted. It was the same feeling that the founder of Laikom had when he had a meeting with the father. Now this is the same thing the biological father of Father Ndong is having now with the father. The spirit of knowing where you are coming from. The spirit of your origin. He respected all those traditions. And what convinced the father was the biblical allusion he made. He told them, he gave the father the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. In the Old Testament, Father Peter Ndong said, respected all these libations, sacrifices that he is going to do on that day. So he has seen nothing wrong with all these libations. But he promised the father, the biological father, that he is going to take orders from the bishop in Bamenda, the headquarters. If the bishop gives him the go-ahead, then he's going to do his father's death celebration without any problem. That was a great one. The father also spoke of, my son, are you not going to get married? That was the question he asked, because I know our monarchies don't get married. But the father asked him, are you not, when I'm talking of father, the biological father, don't be confused please, between Father Ndong and his biological father. The biological father asked Father Ndong, my son, are you not going to get married? Look at your two sisters, there is no other male in the house. You need to get married. What about the chief priest and the chief priest seat that has been there waiting for you? What did Father Peter Ndong told the father? What did he tell the father? He told the father that there will be time for things like that. That was his message to the father. Indeed, it was a great conversation between Father Peter Ndong and his biological father. The biological father on his sickbed was pleased and convinced. That is where the title came. The biological father told Father Peter Ndong, my son, I know the task ahead of you is not easy. It is very difficult. The seat that you are sitting on, it is a seat of thorns. That is where the title of the novel is coming from. The seat of thorns. Because the father is seeing the challenge, biological father is seeing the challenges that Father Peter Ndong is going to go through. And he is doubting how will Father Peter Ndong overcome all these challenges. That is why he termed it the seat of thorns. Indeed, remember, it is a seat of thorns. But with God, which has been Father Peter Ndong's walking stick, is going to do all things for Father Peter Ndong. And that was where Father Peter Ndong left with all courage and with the support of his parents. He knew that he's going to succeed. Okay, so I wanted to get some questions for you. So now we have some revision questions. They are very important. Just try. As I told you the first test we had before the lockdown, that I'm training you so that tomorrow if you meet a question, you'll be able to ask. Don't tell me that, please, this question is difficult. Just try, okay? Try to answer some of this question. If I ask you to give an account, don't tell me what happened in chapter 1 to 5. Just tell me the visit between the two, what just the scene or the setting. That will be all. So try these questions and let me know. Anything you can get to me through my WhatsApp. And I will receive these questions on Friday for correction. Thank you, girls. I miss you girls so much. I wish to see you maybe next week. Stay blessed.